Hi everyone. So now in this particular session, we are going to start off with the basic firewall policy configuration. All right. So the first video was more about how to set up the FortiGate firewall, how to make sure that it has the right interfaces, DNS, and the basic setup when you power on the system or power on the FortiGate for the first time. But now this session, we are going to take a step ahead, and we are going to work on firewall policy configuration. We are going to work on how to ensure that the packet is moving from the firewall in the right manner and with the right policies in place, right? So we'll take care of all those things by in this particular session. Okay. Now see, we have this particular topology in front of us, which is one of the practical topology, which is running in one of my customers' requirement, or in his organization. So I've removed all the the private stuff from this. I'll go ahead and zoom out a little bit so that you can see the whole topology. Right. Now, see, you have one particular section of abc.com where you have a couple of systems in place. You have a EMS server, AD server, some PCs, IT PC, like an admin, forward admin PC. You have a sales PC, user PC as well. And then you have the other side, which is the XYZ. Okay. In this section, in this particular session, we'll just, focus on the abc.com. Okay. The next one, the next sessions will be focusing on the XYZ. Okay. So what we are going to do right now is first is to connect to the FortiGate firewall that we have. Okay, now we already have the FortiGate firewall over here, and we can see the IP address which is being configured on this particular port 1 is this. Okay, so we are going to log into this particular firewall. Okay, now the next thing is that once you have logged in, how would you make sure that, let's say for example, if a user comes in and says that, hey, you know what, I'm not able to access the internet, or I'm not able to access any internet resources or anything apart from my own network, right? So say, let's say for example, this user PC, he is a part of 172.16.32.0 range, and IP is 32.5 for him. So he is able to access everything on the network or on the segment, but if there's anything which is outside this particular segment, he's not able to access. How will I make sure he is getting mapped to the right policies? How will I make sure that the traffic is getting forwarded? We'll take care all of these things in this particular session. Okay. Now, so the first thing is we have to, we always start as a best practice or a best troubleshooting. The best way of doing this is to ensure that you always connect to the system or the user machine and make sure that machine has the right information or the right configuration in place, right IP address, right gateway. Are you able to reach the gateway or not? Because these are the basic troubleshooting that you do, right? So I'm going to just check this with the show command, and we can see that the IP address which I have is 32.5, all right, and exactly as mentioned over here, and that the gateway is 32.1. Now, who is 32.1? See, in this particular topology, the switch is a layer 2 switch, all right, and FortiGate North port 3 is configured with 1, which is 32.1. Okay, so that will be the gateway for this user PC. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to first of all make sure that we are able to reach this particular IP address. How do we do that? Simple. Let's go ahead and ping this. Okay, cool. So we are able to ping this particular IP. So we are able to reach the gateway. Again, basic troubleshooting steps just to make sure that we have the reachability towards the gateway. Because sometimes in some organizations and network as well, if you have multiple, networks inside your LAN, there are chances where you might lose connectivity to your gateway, and hence the reason that you're not able to move anything further from the further from the that particular network. Okay, again, there are so many permutations and combinations that can happen, but for this particular session I'll keep it simple enough for you to understand the mechanics of how the FortiGate firewall behaves. Okay, all right, so we have the connectivity. Great. Now let's move on to the FortiGate firewall. All right, we'll log in and we can see the dashboard. We'll go ahead and couple of things which we'll be testing and verifying first. The first thing is interfaces. We have already pinged the interface. Okay, and we can see the IP address is configured. We have the ping also over here, and we have a port 1 configured for the outside as well. Okay, now the customer, as he was um, informing us that he was not able to access anything on the internet. So let's go ahead and verify that first. Okay, so let's say ping Let's take up any Google DNS server. So 4.2.2.2, let's say. So if I ping, it does say it's timing out. So I know, all right. So it means that the gateway is reachable. So I know that the traffic is reaching the firewall, but for some reason, this traffic is timing out. So the first thing which we always try to do in the firewall troubleshooting is confirm whether you are receiving the traffic or not. That's okay if the the ping is timing out for 4.2, which is absolutely fine, but confirm whether you are receiving the traffic or not. Sometimes in organization, what happens is, as I said, if you have multiple networks inside the LAN organization, inside the LAN, and you have an L3 switch, and then all the traffic is coming through that particular L3 switch, there are chances where the traffic is not even reaching you. Okay, and if that's the case, if you keep on troubleshooting on the firewall, whether before, without even confirming whether the traffic is actually getting received on it or not, it will be, I mean, that's time consuming. I mean, we will eventually get to know, but it will be a problem. Okay, so to ensure, first thing, to confirm whether the traffic is received on the firewall or not is by taking a packet capture or a packet sniffer. Okay, so we'll use this packet sniffer command, which is diagnose sniffer packet any. Okay, and then I'll use a filter. There are so many filters that you can use, but I'll probably start off with ICMP. The reason is that I just want to look into the ICMP package which is running, and I'll say 40L. Anyway, the whole, I have covered the in-depth explanation of what exactly each word over here means in the course that we have, the Fortigate Firewall Mastery. So you can, check those things over here. But for now, diagnose sniffer packet any ICMP is the command which we'll be using to capture traffic for ICMP as the filter. Okay, so I'll go ahead and hit enter. Now, Fortigate has started, capturing traffic, but over here, what is happening is it is still not showing you anything. Why? Because there's no ICMP traffic going through the firewall or coming to the firewall. All right. Now, I'll do this again. I'll go over here. I'll start the ping, ODA2, and I know it's timing out. That's fine. I'll just check whether am I receiving it or not. Great. So am I receiving it? Cool. So this is a good news. Why? The good news is that I'm receiving the traffic, right? Now I'll do a control C to stop the packet capture. Okay, so it says 5 packets received by the filter, 0 packets dropped by the kernel. That means there was no packets which was dropped because of whatever filter that I have in place. Okay, again, taken care in the course. So coming back, I have this particular couple of lines over here, which I'm not really sure what it means. So let's go by this one by one. See, the first thing is of course the date. Then you have the time, and this is in microseconds, by the way. Okay. So the next thing is port 3. Now see, the information that you're able to see over here is because of the verbosity level 4 over here. So you have verbosity level from 1 to 6, which you can choose. Again, it's been covered. So we'll use 4, which is the most used. And as a tag, I also suggest this to use because it is giving you the all the information required for you to troubleshoot the issue then and there instantly. Okay, so it is telling us what port the traffic is coming in. So I know the port 3 is traffic is being received on, which is actually correct because if you look over here, port 3 is being used over here to as a LAN gateway, right? Traffic says the direction in direction, so that also is able to understand that. All right, traffic is being received over here on this, or this is the ingress of the traffic. When the traffic is coming in, it is coming with an IP address of 32.5. Again, makes sense because the user PC has 32.5 again. So I'm actually confirming each and everything step by step. This arrow basically means that it is traversing towards a destination, and that destination is 4.2.2. All right, so this is the destination, this is the source. Okay, source IP and destination IP. The next thing is it is showing you what protocol is being used, and I am filtering the ICMP, which is why it was able to capture it. It also shows that in ICMP there are so many codes, right? ICMP request, ICMP response, redirection, unreachable, so many, right? So I can see over here that this is an echo request. Okay, now each packet is exactly the same. Port 3 in, port 3 in, port 3 in, all the same traffic. Okay, of course there'll be a difference in the time frame over here, but It's all one direction. Do you see this? Yeah. 32.5 going to 4.2. It's all one direction. I do not see any kind of packet which is a response. All right. Okay. So this basically makes me understand that something is wrong somewhere in the firewall. Either I do not have the right policy, or maybe the policy is not getting matched correctly. Okay. Or it's hitting an implicit deny. These are the only three situations that can happen. Okay, with the basic setup. Okay, I'm not saying with the advanced UTM configuration in place, then there's a different situation and scenario which I'll be taking care again in the later sessions. But over here I know that, okay, either the right policy is not getting matched, or the it's hitting a policy implicit deny statement where this is the problem. Okay, so let's see. Now what I'll do is, the first thing again, I'll I'll figure out whether I have a route for this 4.2 or 2 or not. See, for any firewall, regardless whether it is Fortigate, Palo, Checkpoint, whatever, the first thing which every firewall, in fact a router also, it does this. Do you know what this is? Route lookup, right? So before it forwards the traffic, it has to look for a route, whether it has it or not. If it has a route, it will forward it. If it does not have a route, it won't. Pretty simple enough, right? So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and check whether do I have a route for this or not. So you do, I mean, either you can go with the, I normally do not prefer the GUI because it will help you prepare for your NC7 as well. And once you get hold of the command lines, your troubleshooting will be very smooth. Okay. So if I go over here, I can see the static routes also, but I won't. I would like to show you from the command prompt. So you do this: get router info, routing table details. This will tell you all the information or the forwarding information base that you have. I'll give you a quick, like a trick onto this. The trick is you enter the IP address over here, which you are looking for specifically. So it will just show you the specific information about this. Okay, so now if I specifically mention 4.2, it says, you know what, I'm able to reach this 4.2 with this particular routing information, which is 0.0, which is known via a static, which is a distance of 5, and the gateway is this via port 1. So this, I know that this is hitting the default gateway. Okay, this is basically showing you the default gateway and the connected routes. Okay, C is connected routes. 192.168 is my WAN, port 1, and 172.16.32 is my LAN, port 3. And this I have as a static default gateway. Okay, so if there is any kind of traffic which the firewall does not know about, it is going to forward that over here. Okay, so this is one of the ways to look into what kind of traffic, what kind of routing information you have, or forwarding information base FIB you have. But what if you have, let's say, 100 routes, or maybe more? Then this will create a problem. Then in those cases, this is a much better option, because you can just specifically look for what IP or what destination I'm trying to go, and do I have a specific route for that or not. So if you have, let's say, more than one or two, it will show up over here, or if it is hitting the default, it will show up over here. So this command is one of the key components whenever you're troubleshooting any kind of a situation on a Fortigate firewall. So you can keep this saved anywhere in your notepad or somewhere. All right. So I know I do have a route. So one thing removed. I know that, okay, there's something has to happen on the firewall policy, and which is why we have a problem. Now, again, I'm taking this little slow, but point is, once you are aware of this, once you are able to understand all these concepts, this thing will happen automatically in your mind, and within 60 seconds maximum, you would be able to figure out what the problem is. Okay, so I'll tell you what the 60-second rule is over here. First thing is routing information. The first thing was the packet capture, checking whether you're receiving the packet or not. First place. Okay, done. Second, when you were able to receive the packets, second thing is to understand whether you have the route for that particular destination or not. Okay, I am able to have that route also. Okay, two things clear out of the picture. Now let's look into the firewall policy. Okay, now there are two ways again. Either you can use the firewall command line to check whether you have the policy in place, or you can use the GUI as well. I'll show you both. So either you do this, show firewall policy. If you run this command, it will show you all the firewall policies which you have. As of now, of course, I do not have it because it's a plain firewall. I do not have configured. I made sure that I removed everything. So either you use the show firewall policy, or you come over here, policy in objects, firewall policy, and then you can see all the list of all the policies that you have. Now again, we do not have anything, so that makes sense. The traffic is of course not being able to get forwarded. So I'll go ahead and click on create new. Okay, and I'll say this is LAN to WAN. I'll keep it simple enough. Incoming interface, now you tell me what it will be. Pretty simple, right? Port 3, why? Because this is my gateway, 32.1. So I'll select this up. In the outgoing, it will be the outside or my port 1, which will be like my, you know, facing towards the ISP. Okay. Now source, since I want to make this for everybody to access the internet, so that is why I'm saying all. But you can also, create a new address object and make it specific to whatever IP that you're using. Either it could be an IP, it could be a subnet, FQDN, geography, dynamic device. There's so many things I can. Everything is, by the way, covered in the course itself. But yeah, you can, you select any one of them which makes more sense in your organization. Okay, so I'll keep it all for now. Okay, in the destination we'll keep it all. Okay, because internet, right, you want to access anything outside, you're not really sure of what the IP address or the FQDN would be. So if all is a much better choice to go for. Service again, we'll keep it as all. Okay, or let's say I'll just say ICMP. Okay, I want to make sure that only ICMP goes, nothing else. Okay, so you can choose that also, or you can say HTTP or HTTPS, where you are ensuring that nothing apart from ping or HTTPS goes outside. That's up to you. That's your choice, but um, that depends on what kind of project or customer or client's requirement is, and on the basis of that you take up that decision. Okay, so as of now I'm taking it up as all. Action is of course accept, because I want to ensure that these criteria should meet, and once these criteria are met, you accept that kind of traffic. See, if I say deny, if I click on deny, see all the options goes down. And that makes sense. It's logical, right? Because if I'm denying anything which is coming from the inside to the outside, then what's the point of implementing any kind of UTM on it or any kind of NAT onto it? Yeah. So deny will remove all the other options, except Fortigate is basically telling me that, okay, I will accept this kind of traffic. What would you want to do about this? Would you like me to NAT that traffic? Would you like me to implement some kind of security profile like web filter or DNS or something? What would you want me to do? Okay. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to use the inspection mode. Again, this is covered, flow based and proxy based. So in general, flow based is used to ensure you have the best performance of your FortiGate firewall. Proxy is more like a security perspective. If in case you want to ensure 100% security performance, I'm not that concerned about, then proxy based is a better option to go for. Okay. So we'll keep it as flow based. NAT, of course, I do need NAT. Okay, because NAT will take care of the traffic when it is going outside. I mean, let's understand from a very basic perspective. What is the first criteria for any kind of traffic to move from a private network to a public network? It needs to have a public IP, right? So that's what we are going to do over here as well, because we are coming from a LAN segment and we are going to a WAN, which is ISP or the internet. We have to make sure that we have some kind of a public IP with us. Okay, so for that, either you use the IP pool or the outgoing interface. Okay, you have both the options. Now, if you have a public IP on your port 1, okay, if that's the case, use the outgoing interface over here. But let's say in 90% of the situations, what happens is you do have a WAN port, but it does not have a private IP. Sorry, it does not have a public IP onto it. So if that's the case, use the IP pool. Okay, in IP pool you can have, or you can create a lot of IPs or public IPs which you can use whenever you are forwarding the traffic outside. Okay, so what will happen is yeah, sorry, I'll enable the NAT and I'll use the outgoing interface because this is a lab environment. I have this IP being NATed in my Wi-Fi router, okay, which is why I'll use the same IP when I'm forwarding the traffic also. Okay, so that's it. I'm not implementing any UTMs for now. Okay. That's it. Log allowed traffic, and I'll say all sessions. Okay. All right. So we do have a firewall policy now. It says 0 bytes. That's absolutely fine. Now what I'll do is, again, I'll take a capture so that I can show you what happens. Okay. One second. Hmm. Okay. So I'll go into the user PC, and one second. So I'll start the diagnose sniffer packet any, and I'll say ICMP for, I'll I'll only capture 10 packets. Okay. 10. That's it. Enter. So now I am filtering for ICMP packets, and I'll only, capture 10 packets, and then I'll stop. The packet capture will stop automatically. I do not have to, do this manually. Now again, I'll go over here. I'll start the ping, and there you go. I am able to, see the responses coming in, and 84 bytes response from 4.2 and all, and there you go. Cool. So I was able to get the internet connectivity in place. Now let's see. Yeah. So see, I have couple of packets over here. Now you can see that the whole packet flow is, you can see the whole the packet flow. See, this still remains the same, exactly the way it was in the initial one. Yeah. But see, if you look at the differences, this four packets, 4 or 5 packets, this was more like one side unidirection. Over here you can see the whole communication in place, right? So you can see the port 3 traffic coming from the 32.5 going to 4.2. This is what I want you to focus on. Port 1, it's going out. Do you know what this means? This basically means that the firewall is showing you a packet when it is leaving the port 1. And when it is leaving the port 1, it's going with the IP address of 192.168.69.81. Now I want you to comment down below and tell me, what is this, why is this, and what is the logical reason behind it. Okay. Do tell me. I'm actually looking at your comments. I would like to see that. Okay. And then you see port 1 and the traffic is coming in. Okay. 4.2 is the source IP address, and 192.168 is the destination. Okay. Again, tell me in the comment section, what does this mean? I know this is an equal reply. Okay. I can see it over here. Why is this and why is this? All right. So to give you an answer, we can see that the packet communication is happening correctly. The request is going out, and I can see a reply coming back again. Okay. So I want you to tell me, what is this and why is this? What's the logical reason behind it? Okay. I'm actually looking at your comments, and let me see if it is if you're able to understand this. Because let me tell you one thing, what I've told you right now is more than sufficient for you to figure this out. That's what my um goal is, not to give you like a processed food, but for you to think and figure out things automatically. If you're able to do that, you're anyway and automatically becoming a better engineer on a daily basis, right? I want you to comment down over here and tell me what this is. What is this, and what is this? The second packet and the third packet, does it make sense to you or not? If it does not make sense to you, I'll anyway come, let you know what this is. But I would like you to try this up. Okay. Now I go back to over here. Now see, it says 0 bytes, right? I'll refresh this once more. Now it says 840 bytes. Okay. So now if you right click on this, you can actually, check the matching logs as well. So if you click on show matching logs, there you go. You can see the traffic is, going out. Okay. And the result as well, 84 bytes in and out. And the policy which you are hitting on is LAN to WAN policy. Okay. Again, I'm waiting for your comments. Do let me know what you're able to, were you able to figure this out or not? And I'll look forward for your next topic, and I'll look forward for your next session. Okay. Till the time, keep learning and stay connected. Good night. Bye bye.